Good afternoon. My name is Ron Crane. I'm the state treasurer for Idaho and one of the honorary co-chairs of the Labrador for Congress Re-Election Committee. I have been asked to give an invocation to begin this rally this afternoon. Let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you for the privilege of living in this great country that we call home and the rest of the world calls America. Thank you for the liberties and the freedoms that we enjoy. And Lord, I thank you for Congressman Raul Labrador, who has been fighting to protect those freedoms and those liberties. I thank you for his family, Lord. I thank you for all that he has been able to accomplish, and I pray a special blessing on him, that you will give him wisdom and guidance in the days ahead and give his family strength as he enters into this campaign season. For all that you do for us, we will be careful to praise you, for we love you. Amen. It's now my privilege to introduce the Idaho Speaker of the House, Lawrence Denny, and other co-chair of the Congress, or the Labrador for Congress Re-Election Committee.
Thank you so much. Well, I have been a Raul supporter since he first decided to run 2 years ago. Raul is one of those unique individuals who has both character and courage. Character to know what is right, and the courage to do what is right. Raul is not afraid to stand up to the establishment, be they Democrat or Republican, and to give them his opinion. Our country at this time needs more like Raul. Let me introduce our next guest, who is a patriot, who has courage himself, our State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tom Luna.
Well, good afternoon. It is my privilege to serve as one of the co-chairs to the re-election of Raul Labrador for Congress. And not only am I thrilled to endorse him as a congressman, but to tell you what a privilege and honor it is to be his friend. Let me tell you, the measure of the man in my eyes is first what kind of a father and what kind of a husband he is. And Raul has children who respect him and a wife who loves him and adores him. To me, that is a measure of a man. And Raul is a good man. He's a good father. He's an honorable husband. And for that reason alone, I strongly endorse him to be our next congressman. But there's more reasons. The same kind of commitment and values and principles that Raul uses in his personal life and his relationship with his children and his wife is the same thing he takes to Congress. And we've seen that in the past year and a half that he has served us. So it's my honor and privilege to endorse him and to do everything I can to help him be reelected. We need more people like Raul Labrador in U.S. Congress. Don't you agree with me? And not only do we need more congressmen like Raul, we need more governors like Governor Otter. And it's my privilege to introduce to you the greatest governor, in my opinion, the greatest governor in our country, the governor of the great state of Idaho, Butch Otter.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. I'm going to not say anything and allow Tom to continue talking here for a little while. It's great to be here with you. I want to do a little housekeeping first. Now, remember, we're here to send Raul and Becca and the Labrador family off on another campaign. Another campaign that means that Idaho's voice is going to be heard loud and clear in the United States Congress. And so the first thing I want you to do is, if your Labrador support badge is on the right side or on the left side, move it to the right side. We're talking about Raul Labrador here. No. Get the adjustments going, everybody. Listen, it is my pleasure to be here to help kick off the Labrador for Congress and for this next term. I would tell you, as a former member of Congress and holder of that seat, it's awful important that we have a voice in Washington, D.C. That speaks loud and clear about the new republicanism and the federalism that we believe in Idaho. And Raul, along with the rest of the delegation, has been at the forefront for that. And so that's why we need to keep that team together. And keeping Raul in Congress will keep that team together. The other thing, of course, as I work with the delegation, I find from time to time that we need more influence with other delegations, especially from the western states. Serving as the chairman of the Western Governors Association, was frustrated many, many times by some of my Western governor colleagues. But when I could get the word to Raul, and he and his committee actions could then take that rule to that voice to the floor of the House of Representatives, that 43rd star in the American flag shone just a little bit brighter every day. Folks, let's continue to polish that star by sending Raul Labrador to Congress. Thank you. And now, if you've all moved your signs to the right side, your candidate and mine, Raul Labrador.
Thank you, Superintendent Tom Luna. Thank you, Governor Otter, for that warm introduction and for joining me here today. Thank you also to Treasurer Crane and Speaker Denny for standing by me from the beginning. Your friendship means more than you know. I also want to thank all of my friends from the legislature that are standing here and all the elected officers. One of the greatest honors of my life was to serve with all of you in the Idaho legislature. I would like to first recognize my campaign team and the many volunteers, both old and new, without whom I would not be here today and today would not be possible. Now please say hi to my beautiful wife of 20 years, Becca. As well to 4 of our 5 children, Katerina, Josh, Rafael, and Diego. My oldest son, Michael, could not be here with us today, but he remains in our thoughts and our prayers as he serves a mission for our church in Uruguay. As always, the absence of my mother is deeply felt. I would not be at this point in my life had I not been blessed to be raised by her. Friends, I was honored to earn your trust in 2010, and I've worked every day since then to maintain it. I have made some tough decisions, but I hope you would agree that I have made the right decisions for Idaho. I told you that if you sent me to Washington, putting the people of Idaho first and back to work would be my #1 priority. In my first year, our primary focus has been jobs. Since arriving in Washington, D.C., Republicans in the House have passed nearly 30 bipartisan bills that would get businesses hiring again. Unfortunately, the Senate Democrats have failed to act on any of them. I also told you that I would be a voice for fiscal responsibility. I voted to reduce spending not just by a little, but by a lot, back to 2008 levels. I voted for Paul Ryan's budget and voted for an even more aggressive plan that would have balanced the budget in 10 years. I was one of the most vocal supporters in Congress of adding a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. I believe that the best and only way to fix the taxing, spending, and borrowing mess in Washington, D.C. is to balance our budget every single year, just like these legislators behind me have to do every single year here in Idaho. Because of my efforts, the House actually voted on a balanced budget amendment this year for the first time since 1995. During my campaign, I promised you that I would vote to repeal Obamacare. That's why the first bill I co-sponsor in Congress was to get rid of this job-killing law. And I will continue to fight to leave healthcare decisions in the hands of the citizens of Idaho and not bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. I also said that I would defend the Constitution at all costs. I did so following the example of our own Governor Otter by voting against reauthorization of the Patriot Act which erodes our constitutional liberties. I also voted against the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, because it failed to clearly protect U.S. citizens from indefinite detention. I said that I would fight the excessive red tape government imposes on all of us. I voted to prevent the EPA from regulating greenhouse gases because such action would wreak havoc on our economy. And I also co-sponsor regulation that would place a moratorium on all new job-killing regulations on American small businesses. I said I would protect the lives of the unborn. I voted to make the Hyde Amendment the law of the land, prohibiting taxpayer-funded abortions, and I stood firmly against giving your hard-earned money to Planned Parenthood. In light of this administration's most recent assault on religion, I have recently co-sponsored legislation providing conscience protections to faith-based organizations. I promised you that I would stand up for American energy independence and security. That's why I voted to restart the energy industry in this country by allowing oil drilling and exploration in the Gulf of Mexico and by allowing construction of the Keystone Pipeline. And I told you that I would always stand up to corruption in Washington, D.C. As the first member of Congress to formally call on Attorney General Holder to resign, I have fought tirelessly to get to the bottom of Fast and Furious and finally bring about justice for the death of Border Patrol agent Brian Terry. You might have seen my exchange with Mr. Holder earlier this month. I know he was a little bit confused during our exchange about which state I was from, but I doubt that he will ever forget that I am from Idaho. And yes, Mr. Holder, to answer your question, that is how we do things in Idaho. We ask direct questions and we expect direct answers. Finally, I promise you that I would not allow Washington to change me, and Washington has not changed me. I have kept my promises to you. My friends, things are improving in America and in Idaho, but I still realize there's much more to be done. Without much help from the Democrats in Congress or the White House, we have been able to restrain spending in Washington. We have alleviated the regulatory burden facing America's small businesses, and we have steered this economy back on track. As Americans, when we face adversity, we always persevere. This is the attitude I took with me to Washington, and I believe that Americans, without government interference, are the driving force of this country. The government just simply needs to get out of the way. That's why I'm pleased to announce today that I have chosen to seek another term as a congressman from Idaho's 1st Congressional District. I share your values and your vision for America, and I would be honored to continue to serve the great state of Idaho in Congress. Thanks for being here today. I want to thank again my family, my friends and colleagues who stood by me since the very beginning. Many of you spent countless hours helping me win in 2010. Now I will be counting on all of you to help me win in November. May God bless you, may God bless America, and together, let's continue to fight to keep Idaho strong. Thank you.